The war in Afghanistan has caused the world's economy, or pretty much the U.S. economy, to greatly suffer. The cause of the war is from the great tragedy that is known as 9/11, and then followed by the U.S. and our allies' hunt to find the group's leaders who were responsible for this event and hold them responsible for what they have done. Since that day in history, with full support, we went to war, which has now drawn on to be in a long stalemate, and we have already spent $700 billion on this war alone since 2001. Then we went over to Iraq and spent $800 billion there since 2003. This has been a long and costly war, not only in manpower, but in financials for us and our allies. Yet we still spend millions of dollars on this war. Yet some of the time we are over there not knowing who we are fighting.
The changes brought by domestic events to gun control. The two major laws that have been changed were, first, the Firearms Owners Protection Act of 1986, and then the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, which went into effect in the year 1994, which required federal firearms dealers to run background checks on individuals buying a gun that is not being sold from person to person. In other words, being sold to a person who is not that's doing it to create financial gains for themselves, and making it so that the only ways to get a background check would be if you buy a gun. In some states that actually require you to have a background check to buy them at a gun show. Otherwise, whenever you go to like a gun store or a Shields or Cabela's, a sporting goods store that sells them, you'd get a background check done on you. And then the owner's protection of 1986 actively banned the production of automatic weapons and the purchase of those for the average civilian, only if the gun was registered before May 1986, they would be legally allowed to keep. It also made it legal for an individual to move a firearm through a state lines that the gun may be illegal to have in that state as long as it is in a locked box and has ammo stored separate, or is in the trunk of your car with the same lock on it. And then the two events that actually brought around this change were the California Stockdale shooting of 1989 at Stockdale School, which killed 5 people. And then in 1998, New Orleans in Louisiana became the first city to sue gun makers to an attempt to recover the money lost to gun violence.
How outsourcing has hurt the U.S.'s economy. In the years from 2008 to 2010, 450,000 jobs were lost to China. This is only because for the same businesses to do the same thing here in America, it would have been extremely more expensive to do the same work here than to do it in a less developed country. So for any more companies to compete on a global marketplace, it would have to make it cheaper than the next guy that is making it since the cost of the products and to produce it are higher in the United States, and to even pay the American worker more than you would have to pay a foreign person to do it. And so it became more difficult to do it here because of the higher cost. And it would be cheaper to do it overseas where there's less regulations on how much you have to get paid.
O.J. Simpson was born on July 9th, 1947. He became a football star. Then in the 1973 season, he was the only person to rush for more than 2,000 yards or more. Then he was also 1 out of 6 to pass for 2,000 yards or more in a 16-week season. When he retired from the NFL, he became a well-known actor. In 1967, on June 24th, he was married to Margaret L. Whitney. They had 3 kids together, yet their youngest died in their family pool. Then Whitney and O.J. got a divorce. Then in 1985, O.J. remarried Nicole Brown, had 3 more kids, yet again. He had another divorce. Then he was forced to pay child support. Then pleaded no contest to domestic abuse charges. In 1992, then in 1994, he was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, and then was acquitted in a public trial that was highly controversial. In 1997, in civil court, he was convicted of wrongful death of one Ronald Goldman and the stabbing of Nicole Brown, and was forced to give $34 million to the 2 families. The presidency of Barack Obama began on January 20th, 2009. He was the 44th President of the United States of America. He was the first African American president. He was also the first president from Hawaii. One of his biggest campaign promises was the Affordable Care Act. Yet, as good as the idea of it sounding, it's a highly expensive bill that it will bankrupt more of the American people. Even if they can afford it, they will get taxed on if they can, if they don't buy it. This is a very socialist idea, and there's other Obama policies that are highly controversial that other countries may look at as a good idea for the future.